Let's just do a very quick revision on what we have done so far today. So, we reviewed the data objects today. We reviewed the generic checklist to start with, how to get started on preparing for creating Polaris report. We started designing the report. We reviewed how do we add column, remove columns. We discussed about parameters and conditions. We discussed about the working folder. Typically, all the reports will be visible under working folder once you create them. And then we also started reviewing the modify report. So there were questions about how do I add multiple columns, and can I select multiple values for a particular parameter. So we looked at that as an example for the FA report that we designed, that how do I add as many parameters as I can. So we just saw that it's possible, and when we select allow multiple values, it will basically allow us to choose multiple values when we select it from the front end. So, for example, when we want to select multiple values for a book type, now it will make it multiple values selectable, and you can see that the values will be selected over here. So that's what basically we covered in the previous session. So adding, removing parameter is a very small task now. It is not a very lengthy task. Now, continuing to the modify report. So to modify the report, you right click on the report, edit. These are the values you can modify. So you can modify the columns, parameters, conditions. You can also change the order of the columns. You can add or remove calculated columns. And we saw the example of adding a new parameter. Now, very quickly, I would like to show you that when you right click on the report, you see edit, you see delete, you see rename, and add to favorite. So these are very self-clarifying options over here. But if you look at details, when I click on the details, I see a lot of options, a lot of buttons around over here, and there is a lot of information available over here. So to quickly show you what these details means, so on the top you will see the information about the report, like what is the name of the report, the internal name of the report, the type of the report, and who is the owner. All right. These values will be visible once we create the PL/SQL type of the reports. This is another most important concept. TFX all FA Polaris display context. What it means is that when I grant the access of this report to a user, that user may or may not have these responsibilities using which I have designed this report. But if that user runs that report, it will run as if it is this responsibility. So when the user tries to submit this report, it will use all the parameters like this responsibility name, its profile settings in the backend, any other preferences set up, all those will be taken using these responsibilities. So that's what is the context means. When I grant access on this report to a user, which we will see later, it will run as if it is submitted by these responsibilities. Right. Then what are the different outputs this report supports? So you can choose PDF if you want. PDF to be available. By default, these 1, 2, and 3 will be always selected. You can leave it if you do not want to play with those options. So this shows you the columns, all the columns that we selected from a data object. Now, this is very important. Remember in this slide I was talking about that you will be spending most of the time in answering the question number 4, 5, and 6. Meaning you will try to understand from this use case what's the requirement. Definitely you will spend some time in finding out that. Then for question number 5, do I have an existing report or do I have an existing data object? So to get a very quick answer to this question, now assume that I am a very new to Polaris and I just started working on it and I want to develop a report which is almost similar looking like this. So after talking to FA team, I understand that there is a register report and the team granted me the access. So I can quickly come and look at the details of that report and find out that on which data object that report is created on. That's my requirement. I have a very quick answer to my question number 5 or question number 6, sorry. What data object do I need to access to create this report? So I get an answer for that from here. Similarly, I can find out that there is an FA asset register details report, or let's say a budget information details report. What is that report based on? So I can find out it is based on these. And that report takes parameter for these 3 values. There are 3 parameters for these report: ledger name, book type code, and budget account. And I can also find out LOBs. You can see here there is an XXRX GL set of books LOB here. So what I'm trying to tell you is that there are certain tricks once we grant full access to you to view all the seeded reports in the training environment or EBSQ environment. The trick that you could use is that once you find out what is your requirement, say you want to work on GL journal adjustment report under FA, so quickly you can go and try to see whether you have any seeded report that meets that requirement, and you will see it here, right? So this is a very quick trick that I'm just showing you. Say you want asset transfers or asset invoices report. This report is based on which data object? It is this data object. And it has 2 parameters, vendor name and invoice number. Now let's say I want to create a report which is almost like this, and all I want to do is add or remove some columns from here. What I can do is I can simply use a copy option. And I can give name my asset invoices report. So this is a copy report name. This is I'm copying from. This is my copy report name. This is my description. All right. Then I just click on copy. That's all. Report has been copied successfully. So all you have to do is, it's not available here at this moment. All you just have to do is refresh this page by clicking my reports, or you can press F5 or navigate somewhere and come back here. You will be able to see my asset invoices report is copied from a seeded report. Now I can play around with this report. I can go and modify the column as if this is my own object. You see, I'm modifying this report. I can add as many new columns, if available, as I want. All right. So let's say I can add asset invoice ID, or let's say I don't want any column, or I want this to be uh, uh, removed, for example, this parameter. So what I did is I saved a lot of time by just copying an existing report and use it to develop further my own report. Now, let me tell you, these seeded reports do not take into consideration all the customizations and custom objects we have in the backend. So let's say you decide to reuse a object for your learning or for understanding, well and good, go ahead and do that. But before starting to build report on top of these reports, it would be good to verify once with IT folks that, hey, I want to just create, I have this report, can I just go ahead and use this? The reason I'm telling you is that it is possible that IT team would have created some custom objects in the backend which might need to be appended to these data objects. So IT team will do that analysis for you, and once that analysis is done, that becomes a knowledge base for you. You do not have to redo any other analysis, right? So IT team may say that, okay, let's create a new data object, but it will be similar to this one. We will expand this further. They may add more columns, like some columns like entity column, which is not visible here. They may add those columns over here. All right. So it is good to confirm with IT folks if you want to use any of the existing report and build the object on top of that. Report on top. All right.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
If you call the IT folks, can you add in your presentation special names for this, or should I open an incident or via email, or just note the way that we have a point where we can check and not think about it each time?
Exactly. I mean, that's a valid question, Manuela. So, I mean, it depends on how you have been working with the team so far. This is very formal discussion. There is no actual work is happening at this moment. You just want some consultation. But again, it depends on how the team wants you to approach. This could be something that maybe Soumya, do you want to answer this question on how you want users to approach IT on consulting, these reports related queries?
Manuel, since at this point of time we are not really doing any specific work, I think email should be fine. I don't think we need to raise an incident.
Okay, so can you please make a note in the trainings material with the names of the contact persons?
Sure, absolutely.
Sure.
Fine, thanks.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Sure. Okay. So basically, a quick feature that I wanted to show you was that you can use a copy feature, which basically allows you to quickly start building your reports on top of seeded report or existing reports. So I do recommend to use copy to save a lot of time. However, as I say, please consult IT folks. At times it would be good to talk to them and get started from there. So basically, copy feature is very powerful. Once you have your own reports, those reports can also be copied. For example, we recently designed this FA register report. I can create a copy of this report and create a new report on top of that. I would do this for certain scenarios wherein I want different set of formats, different set of groupings I want to work on top of the report. Or sometimes even I want to give an access to the less number of columns to somebody. In those scenarios, if you create a new report for those users, it would be easy to manage the segregation of access on the reports that you have designed. So in these scenarios, you will design multiple reports using the copy feature. All right. Now, so that's the copy feature I wanted to show you. All right. Then in the details section, you could see that we discussed about how to find out the data object, how to find out the parameter and list of values. This is the condition that has been used. So we have used this condition for the report. So these details are visible for you to get started on designing a report from scratch. All right, so going back to my presentation slide, so we reviewed the checklist, we designed the report, and we also looked at the modify report. So this concludes the modify report feature of Polaris. Next, I want to jump into the another feature of Polaris, which is drill down report feature. So what I want to do is, before I do the drill down feature, let me go to the requirements and validate what I have done so far. So first three answers I have got. Fourth answer, I have designed FA register report, but I have not designed the GL journal adjustment report. So once I have both master and child report ready, I can create drill down. All right. So I will now start creating a GL journal adjustment report. Very quickly, I'll move very fast this time. Create report, folder, some logical name, my GL journal adjustment report. The columns that I want is asset number, transaction type, adjustment amount, adjustment type. I can also get currency code and book class, which will help me, book name and GL period. Okay, that's all. I have lots of information here inside. I do not want to use all of them. I want to use this much information. All right. Now, I go quickly next and I define a parameter. My parameter for this report will be asset number, as I have mentioned in my generic checklist list over here, that asset number will be the parameter. I can add as many. So adding the asset number. It could be an LOB also. I can run this report independently also. Okay, I say create condition. Next, so I choose a column in my data object. So parameter value will be selected and asset number column in the data object will be used to match it, and only that data object will be fetched. Finish. All right. So my report is ready now. Now let me run this once, for example, and let me see whether I get the necessary details or not. So I'm selecting any random asset number from here, and let me click on view output. Okay, so it's taking asset ID. This is the internal value. Okay, that's correct. So let me just validate these on one of the sample reports that I have created. Okay, so it's asset ID. All right. It returns the asset ID. So what I'm checking is that when I use this LOV, asset ID is what is the asset number value return. So let me quickly go back. Next. So, okay, so I'll explain you that error. What is that message that was coming? Because we have defined this parameter as a string, while asset ID is a number. So once the value is taken, it will go and compare it with asset ID, which is numeric field. So the parameter type, which is number, should match the value in the column. So let's say you cannot use asset number column to compare it with a date column. Like I cannot use created date is like asset number, right? So that's basically what it means, the error means. Okay, so this is saved. Let me go back, quickly validate whether my report is working fine or not. Say I select this value, smart grid. Whew. Okay, so without spending much time over here, what I will do is I'll give you an example of this report that I had created here. What I will do is I'll select a asset number over here. And we'll click on view output. Okay, so basically what it shows is that there is a warning. Reason is because this report is already set up as a drill down report. Okay, so what I will do now is that instead of linking this report, which I just now created, there is some issue with that. I don't want to start debugging that issue and confuse you. I had, before the session today, I had designed this report, which basically meets the similar requirement. All right. So what I will do is this report, I will make it as a drill down for this report. All right. So to make a drill down report, what I need to do is I need to go into my parent report. Right. So remember, from asset register, I want to drill down to GL journal adjustments. Right. So I go into my FA register report, right click, click on details, or I can click here. Both are same. And you can see there is a drill down and template. All right. So to create a drill down, it's a two-step process. First, you create a template, and then you create a drill down. All right. So sorry about that. Delivery channel is a two-step process. Drill down is just one-step process. So you directly go into the drill down, click here. When you click the drill down button, you will see that there are no existing drill downs available. You click on a new drill down button available here. Once you click on a new drill down button, so the first option is that from this report, the drill down is a Polaris report. RWB means Polaris report. Okay. So yes, it's a Polaris report. Here we need to put the name of the report, which is the drill down report. So I'll try to put the name, something like this. GL. As long as I know the name, I can select it. Once I select that, automatically below the drill down report parameters would appear. What this means is that from the parent report, which columns will match these drill down report. All right. So this is the base report. So this becomes the base report. This becomes the parent report. All right. So in my parent report, I have a column called asset number. All right. I can just type that, or I can click on this. It will show me all the columns inside my parent report. This column could be the column visible in the report, or it could be invisible column which is there in the data object. All right. So all the columns will be visible here. So you click on asset number from here, it will appear. What this means is that this is my parent report, this is my drill down report, and the base report. This column inside the drill down report will match with this column in the parent report. Right? Now, when we do this, there is one more column which is mandatory, which is what is the drill down column. Now, this value is just for the purpose of providing the hyperlink. You saw that in one of the report I showed you that there is a drill down report column and I need to click the hyperlink. So the purpose of this column is only that. When you fill this value, this column which we mentioned here will become a hyperlink into the report. So when we click on that column, it will use this condition to match the value and it will show you this report. All right. So let me, for convenience of this example, I use asset number. It could be any column. This is just for the hyperlink purpose. Most important thing is this. Now, I do not have these values in my parent report, so I'm not matching them. If these values were mandatory in my base report or a drill down report, I will have to provide the hyperlink. I'll have to provide a link with the parent. Since these are not mandatory, I'm skipping them and only linking these two reports using asset number. All right. So these are the configurations for the drill down report. So the very first step, you should have parent report and child report ready. You should have an understanding on a very common column using which you want to drill down between these two. So in this scenario, I'm using asset number. I'm linking these two reports using asset number, and this becomes my hyperlink column. That's all. I save the report. Now the report is appearing as a drill down report. So when I go to the details of this report and I click on drill down, I will see this report, which means I can have as many drill down as possible. However, the column, which is this column, cannot be repeated everywhere, meaning I cannot link two drill down reports from a single column. So I'll show you what it means. Let me run this report now for example. I will select a particular asset from here. Say I selected this asset. Then I click on view output. So what difference you will see now is that this asset number column becomes a hyperlink, which means there is a drill down behind this. Rest of the columns will not have the hyperlink, right? Now I click on this to drill down to the journal adjustment report, which I did as a drill down report from here. So it will use this asset number as a parameter, which is what we mentioned while defining the report, drill down report, that it will use this asset number, pass it to the drill down report, and execute the query there. So let me click on this. Okay, so it's an asset ID, not the asset number. Let me go back. So it's possible that I have used a wrong LOV or wrong column here as a parameter, due to which it is showing me this value. Let me try one more time. If not, I'll show you quickly the example that I have used already before this session. So let me try one more time. If the same issue happens, I will not spend time on understanding the report, but instead I will go in the example. I can explain you this issue at a later stage whenever you want to see this. Okay. So let me go and use this report. This report is another report that I have prepared before this session. It also has the same drill down report, which is journal adjustment report, as you can see here. I'll go here, I'll select an asset.
I think we should not be using asset ID anywhere because this is asset number. Asset ID will be a different column.
Yeah, no worries. Basically, I don't want to spend time on fixing the issue here as it will confuse everybody. So let's say this is my asset register report. I click on that and it will show me the GL journal adjustments. The GL journal adjustments are only shown for these assets. So yes, it works. And then when I go on the right side, I can see adjusted amount. It could be a duplicate, but data accuracy is not a concern here. We can always work on modifying the data. So basically, I just want to show you that how drill down feature works, right? And if anybody wants to know what is the issue with this report, I can show you at a later stage, right? So
One question. So can we have, say, multiple child reports? I would say like this adjustment one, multiple child reports connected to the same FA register report and using the same column like asset number as the link or the drill down column.
see, that's what I mentioned, right? That when you define one column, right, as a link, right? This is linked to the GL journal adjustment report. You cannot use the same column to link to another report. You have to remove these links. However, you can use some another column, or what you can do is you can again select asset number, add one more column in your report as an asset number and create a link for that. That would be very odd, however. So one column, one drill down. You can have drill down inside drill down, multiple drill down. There is no limit for that. Okay, but you cannot have one column linking multiple drill down reports.
So
Okay.
can I ask a question?
Yep.
In this case now, we didn't select any period for the postings. That means all postings which are done for this asset needs to be shown here, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
However,
So
behind
this is a
this data
cumulative.
object, yeah.
This is a cumulated view.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. My question would, my next
Yeah,
question would be, in the fixed assets team, sometimes we need actual amounts in a balance, or sometimes we need historical amounts. So that means if I run today a report end of December 2015, so I need I need to go back to the data objects and check if there is something, a period field, right? And if yes, I need to add this field in the report, because I have to say to the report I need to run per end of December. And the question would be, is then taking the asset register report really the amount which was end of December 2015?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, so you can even, let's say, if you have a column here which is also period name, that can be also passed to the GL journal adjustment, and the values can be used to, match with these columns over here. So it is all up to us how we design the report. As long as there is connection between these two data objects to meet that specific requirement, we can design the report accordingly. Yeah. So what steps you mentioned is correct.
Okay. Okay. I think this would be this needs to be tested.
Yep. this needs
or not tested. It needs. This is a training, a report trainings issue or challenge.
Yeah, so,
I would not like to say issue. This is a challenge for us.
right. So, see, this is based of my knowledge, and frankly, I'm not a functional guy, so I don't understand all these things. All I'm showing you are the features. So please excuse for the data inaccuracies over here. However, try to be as far as accurate as possible. But what I can see that this report is duplicate rows are there. So it is possible that there are some column values which are unique for this data object, yeah, which I'm not displaying here, because for this report there are many columns that I have not added here. So it is possible there is some kind of sequence number or some kind of other number which is unique for these two rows. So it is quite possible. Yeah. Okay. So coming back to the drill down report, let's do a very quick revision on what we have done so far. So to define a drill down report, so let me take the example from here for now. To define the drill down report, all you do is go to drill down by right clicking the report and details. Click on that. Click on new drill down button if there is none available. If something is there and you want to modify, click on the parameters button available here. And then the two compulsory columns that you need to fill in are the drill down report, of course, which is the child report for this, and then the hyperlink. Now you know that this column was shown as a hyperlink. And then this is the most important item here is asset number, which is matching the parent report value, right? So that's most important item in this configuration, the parameter matching. And as Manila was mentioning, if I have a date column or period displayed in the register report, I can even pass that. As long as I have some matching column, I just need to add that as a parameter in this report. Then it will appear here, and then I can use it. Or I can also use this column as a parameter matching for that. So these are the steps for developing the drill down report. There is no limit on as such how much deep drill down you can do. You can do further drill down from the GL journal adjustment report to another invoice detail report or PO details report, then go to PO line level or whatever level you want to go. You can go using the drill down feature. The Polaris supports the drill down features at a very deep level. And at the same time, when you are defining the report, just be careful to do the data validations. And for the drill down report, definitely if you are designing a drill down report for the first time, once you design some report, it would be good to do a validation with IT folks. Now, for IT folks, I have an action item here. We'll be adding IT folks details in this training material. So, any questions on drill down feature?
So what you told some minutes before, if I need to add two drill downs over the same column, for instance the asset number, so I can go in the FA asset register report, give them a field, a column asset number 1 and asset number 2, and then I can set two drill down reports, right?
Exactly.
And the drill down,
one.
Yeah. The drill down connector would be in the first the asset number 1 and in the second drill down report the asset number 2.
Right. So you specify here asset number 1, number 2.
Yeah. But it should be the same name in the drill down report.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
so
correct.
it would be better. It would be better to have the asset number and the drill down report code, a short, for instance, asset balance, if the drill down source would be the asset balance, I should add here asset number AB, that I know if I click in this field, the drill down, I go into asset balance.
That's correct. So see, what you will do is you have two columns, right? So you go to detail, you create here drill down, and then you created this drill down for journal adjustment for asset number, right? Now you have another asset balance report, which you want to link from the asset ID, asset number again. Now it could be any number. Remember, this is just for the display purpose. Okay, this is not for linking. This column is not used for linking at all. For linking, it is this. So what you could do is you again go to the drill down, click on a new drill down, okay, and then here say so let me see if I have one available. Okay, I don't have the report with the name asset. Okay, so let's say if I have a report with asset balance, it should be there.
Yeah, I know what, I think I know what you mean. The question only was to give the column where I give the link, I need to have an identifier in which drill down report I will go.
Exactly. So exactly. So this could be any other column also. You don't have to add asset number 1, asset number 2, if you do not want to do that and make the report look a little bit different. So you can have invoice number from where you can link any other report. So basically you don't have to have, and I can still use asset ID as a link over here if I want to. Okay, so you do not, this is just for the hyperlink, meaning when I run the report, this column will be used as a hyperlink. That's all. That's the only purpose for that option.
Okay.
There is no other option, which means I can basically use the book type. When I click on that, it can give me exactly the same data using this, what I'm using this here. Okay, so it only hyperlink is visible once I fill up that drill down column. That's all. That's the only purpose of that.
Okay.
Okay, we will discuss about that once you start building something, and we can connect back again, and at that time it will be more clear to work on a real-time requirement, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now for the for examples of other teams, right? Examples like Daniel's requirement is that he wants to work on AMTC report. So for example, under training folder, I have put up the 2 AMTC queries. So let's say Daniel are taking 10 minutes of your time on this. Say you have an internal mask revenue extract data object created over here, and I'm informing you, and Soumya is informing you that, hey, Daniel, there is this object, data object we have created. Now, you have a specific requirement that every time, every month you are running a report, your column requirements would change, your data parameter requirements would change. So how will you manage that requirement? So let's say you have this report, you want to create a report on top of that. So what you will do is you will log in as your account, and you will have your IC responsibility. You will choose a folder in which these data objects are defined. And the next thing you will do is come to the responsibility, the reporting responsibility, and you should, again, as usual, you should have create privilege access, select the ad hoc report, and then select the right folder. So these information will be initially given by Soumya or Surendra or anybody in IT, or maybe sometimes myself also. However, when you have the access to this particular folder, what you will do is you will start creating your own field report by clicking on the create report. So let's say you want to create your first AMTC report for revenue extract, right? So what you will do is, again, as I said, you'll follow the same checklist which I have put up over here. Sometimes it would be very simple, sometimes it would be very complex, that you may have to come back to Soumya or Surendra or somebody in IT, all right? And in case, once you have the checklist ready, all you have to just do is start adding the values. For example, here, these are the currency code, enter amount, accounted amount. Say these are the columns that you are looking for a report. And your parameters will be based on ledger and accounting period, for example, right? So what you will do, how you will create the parameters for this. So that's the next thing. So in the next session, in the next window, what you will do is ledger. Here you will be adding as a parameter name as a ledger, and here you'll be selecting an LOV, something like this. As I said, if it is not available, we will create those LOVs for you, and we'll make sure that this information is available to you firsthand in an Excel file or somewhere where you can see all the list of values pertaining to the report that you want to develop. For example, in this case, the LOV I'm using is ledger for this parameter is XXGFGL ledger, right? And this becomes a compulsory column. And I say create condition. Next, I would do is I'll match the parameter ledger that user will select with the parameter in my report. So now when Polaris will run this report, it will ask the user to enter the value for this parameter using an LOV, and it will match for my report that, okay, the value of the ledger is equals to the value that user has entered. And this is the operator. I can say like, or I can say equals to, or I can say in, depending on what parameter is this, right? And then I click finish. So my report is ready. So basically what I'm trying to say is that a report will be visible here, and you can start changing the reporting requirements whenever you modify. Let's say now I want to add accounting period as a parameter. So what I'll do is I'll again go into the edit, I'll go to next, I'll add a parameter, and I will say a period name, and then I'll put over here again similar concept XX. Let me see. So lots of parameter LOVs are visible with the same name. I'll select the one that matches the GL. This one. So now, again the same question, how do you know which LOV to use at what time? See, these are very commonly used LOVs. So we will be able to publish the list of these LOVs with this name of the parameters in an Excel file or Google Sheet for your references. All right, so that's our next target that we want to do. You can choose create condition for this parameter because we newly added that. And then here, I know that in my data object, I have accounting period. So accounting period is similar to the period name. So basically, this is what it takes to add one more parameter and conditions for this report. Now it's available on it. All right. So you choose the values, necessary values for the report. Oops. This is a wrong value, a wrong LOV that I have used. I should have used the other one, which is seeded. I use the ledger. So I have all the ledgers available here. I can use a specific ledger which I want to use for this purpose. All right. So similar concept for AMTC and similar concept for tax. If you have any drill down requirements, come up with similar table which has been provided here, and you can start designing the report using this training material. All right. So this training material has in detail screen by screen examples on what values to choose at what time for designing the drill down reports. All right. So this is the example for AMTC. Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah. Thanks for your quick introduction here on the AMTC reports. So I tried I think a few weeks ago to pull the internal radicals report for April or May. So and when I did this, I run into error messages. So could you quickly just show me how to run this report, this existing report, without without all the modifications you just showed? Just The first steps,
You mean
so to say.
You mean the one that was already available to you? Is that
Yes,
the one
exactly.
you are referring to?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I need to do is I do not have the access at this moment to that report. So let me do one thing. I'll spend some time with you on this. Maybe I'm not sure if you'll have some time today or maybe tomorrow. Whenever you get some time, I want to sit down with you and see that report. Will that be okay?
Okay.
To fix that item for you. So I'll schedule a session with you, me and Soumya. We will plan, or Surendra also can join us, and I'll spend some time on that with you.
Okay, would be great. So, and please also include Martin Sommer in your invite. Martin Sommer.
He is one of the power users. Yes,
he's sitting next to me. So he is.
Yes. So I have his name and details. Yes.
Yep.
I'll do that.
Okay, great.
And yeah, sure. So considering the time limit that we have already 8 o'clock and we only have 30 minutes. And to tell you, we have many more slides to go. So right now we are somewhere here at slide number 20 or 18, and we have total 40 slides to finish, which I think would be difficult to finish today based on the speed at which we are going. So if you are okay, I would like to complete one more item, which is Excel integration, and call it an off today, and we again meet maybe tomorrow, same time for 1 hour. I need at least 1 hour of your time. So Katya and team, let me know what we should do. How do we want to take it? Our plan for today was up to 8:30. That was what was our plan, and that too with 2 breaks. I haven't given you one more break. Sorry about that though. But we have finished the topics up to this. We need to spend some time on email distribution, Excel integration, and security. So let me know what's your suggestion on this.
So Ashish, for me it's fine if we have another session tomorrow, but the other users should confirm as well. However, I would really recommend that you send out the training material already today so that they can have a look into this.
From my point of view, it would be great if we could do this tomorrow for 1 hour.
Yeah, maybe we could start a little bit earlier, so earlier than 11 o'clock Dresden time.
Yeah.
So that would be also more convenient for you.
You mean tomorrow same time or early?
Oh, earlier, maybe we start 10 o'clock German time, so one hour earlier. Or,
Okay.
10 o'clock would be good, I think, so depending on the other participants.
Yeah. I get a yes from the other guys here in the room.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep. Okay, sounds good. I think it will be also too many topics to cover. Same day would be tough. What I will do is, as Katya suggested, we'll be sending you the training material which I'm using as is, and you can refer to that. And I'll send you one more invite 1 hour early for an hour and a half an hour extra for the questions. If you have any questions, we'll try to address them. Otherwise, we can close within 1 hour. So I need 1 hour to cover these 3 topics. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for your time, and hope the session was meaningful. I'm not expecting that you will start designing reports from tomorrow itself, but at least it should give you certain framework using which you start designing the report, and at least your thought process will start now that, okay, this is what it takes to create report, drill down report, parameters and all. And this would basically will be the key in future how we develop the self-service reporting capabilities for you, right? So that's, I hope it was a meaningful session, and I'm really looking for tomorrow to cover the remaining very important topics with you. Okay. All right then. Thank you everybody for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Yes. Short questions, or if you invite tomorrow for the follow-up of advanced users training, could you please schedule the AMTC session for Wednesday, let's say 10 o'clock?
Okay, so Wednesday 10 we meet for the AMTC, the questions you have to clarify those errors and everything. Yep, okay, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you everybody.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you, Soumya.